Yeah, so it definitely sways me a little bit more on the bearish side. And the main reason for that is that it essentially tells us that rates are going to be higher for longer. Now, I don't really think that the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates a lot more because I think they realize what's happening to the real estate market, what's happening to various other sectors. But I do think that they're going to have trouble lowering rates substantially. And again, you have to look at tech stocks, especially the Magnificent Seven, and saying, what were their valuations earlier this year based on the idea that rates were going to fall by the end of this year? We know that's not true now. And now even rate cuts are probably out into the second half of next year. So there has to be a repricing here of risk based on rates staying higher for longer. Crypto's the highest risk curve kind of asset class. And we've seen that the struggle that especially the altcoins have had, finding liquidity, finding buyers to go up. And so again, right now we've been coming out of this phase where there was a lot of money on the sidelines rushing in to chase stocks, but that was all on the condition that the Fed was going to be moving to the sidelines and then see a reduction in rates. And now I think people are going to have to redo it. A lot of these fund managers that got over long the market are going to probably have to pare back their positions. And I do think, again, we're starting to see lower highs on things like Apple, Microsoft, even Meta, which I know we'll talk about a little bit later. But to me, that's beginning of a trend change potentially in the stock market. If Binance as a whole disintegrated, right? If we saw a big collapse there, I think the US area, it's tolerable because, again, it's a smaller portion of their business. But I do think that if we saw some major fraud in Binance, I mean, that would be an opportunity for the bigger crypto markets to take another slam down. And I think what the biggest issue is how many coins are these bigger exchanges holding? Like recently, just in the last week, we've heard about FTX finally getting approval to unload a lot of their coins. And again, we saw kind of the downtick just the other day in Bitcoin. And what if you have another exchange that holds X amount of Bitcoin? What does that do to Bitcoin's price? So these are the kind of issues. I mean, I think for the most part, Bitcoin is now free of regulatory oversight. We know that it's more of a commodity. So that's positive. But you still have these kind of potential for bad actors out there. And I don't think we've kind of discovered all of them yet.
The SEC, led by Gary Gensler, is intensifying its scrutiny of the crypto industry. Their focus has shifted from the largely unregulated crypto landscape to more oversight and enforcement actions. Historically, the crypto world resembled the Wild West, but regulatory bodies like the SEC are now asserting their influence. Notably, the SEC's actions against celebrities and high-profile crypto players have been public, often resulting in significant settlements. However, these enforcement actions rely on laws that were created almost a century ago, raising questions about their relevance in the digital age. So what's next for the SEC? Experts predict that crypto wallets and specific digital asset transactions will be the SEC's next targets. Previous actions, like the SEC's lawsuit against Coinbase, suggest that they may treat crypto wallets as brokers under the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. This has implications for wallet providers and users alike. While the SEC's actions aim to bring order to the crypto world, stakeholders are calling for clearer, more tailored regulations for the digital age. Until then, it's essential to navigate the ambiguous regulatory waters carefully. Bitcoin's price surged above $26,000 despite a CPI report indicating rising inflation. This level is seen as crucial by traders and analysts. Institutional interest in Bitcoin, exemplified by BlackRock's filing for a spot Bitcoin ETF, boosts market sentiment. However, Bitcoin's price is still driven by market fear, reflecting the delicate balance between optimism and caution in the crypto space. Let's continue our discussion with Gareth Soloway.
For the first time yesterday, I saw something positive in the chart. And we know, the last time we discussed it, I thought this 31,000 area was just epic support going back to the bull market lows of 2021 and right through here and right through this area as well. And basically, one of the things that concerned me since we were at those highs is you had the good news on Ripple. We had a one-day pop on Bitcoin. The next day, we reversed that entire move. That's never good when you have good news and it reverses a day later. Over here, we had the grayscale news, right? Popped. 2 days later, it reverses. The first positive thing here was that we had a down move here on, I believe this was Monday, and Tuesday, we finally got a reversal in the opposite direction and are following it up today with another green day. So for me, this is a positive, short-term positive signal. The other positive thing too is that I was very concerned about Bitcoin potentially making a lower low for the first time here, right? Very clear, low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And if we pierced this low, I know it seems kind of crazy because it's so minuscule in terms of a lower bit, but if we had pierced it right here, that would have been a lower low, We did not do that, so that held. So at least if you're a bull, you have something to ride right now, saying, okay, price action all of a sudden reversed a down move for once, and we still have higher lows in the chart. Short term, technically, that is a positive for Bitcoin. What we do see is that we broke that same line that Bitcoin broke, that upsloping trend line. The difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin is that we had a higher low here, right? Low, higher low, higher low, higher low. We actually made a lower low. So if you compare the two, Bitcoin and Ethereum, Ethereum is technically weaker, which makes sense further out on the risk curve. And also it's kind of a pseudo altcoin. It's not quite an altcoin like we think about some of the other ones, but it still, again, is not a Bitcoin. Now, we did make a lower low, but right now you're holding on to this pivot low. So I think as long as you hold on to this 1545 level, we could continue to move up. Resistance would be around 1865, right up in this trend line zone here. Now, again, my only concern with Ethereum is, do you have a head and shoulders here? All right. So again, another technical pattern, but a very clear head and shoulders that has broken. And the way you do head and shoulders patterns is to find the target price, right? You basically do a drop from the highest point to the neckline here, and you take that same $650 move and you say, okay, where did it break? And you drop that down, and essentially you get a move down into this $1,100 range. So again, I don't know if this will play out, but it is a chart pattern that has my attention, that could signal a little bit of a move lower. I mean, it doesn't have to be right now. It could be in a week, 2 weeks, a month, or 2 months from now. But it would be something that I would just kind of pay attention to. And honestly, like I said, I'm short-term, very short-term positive on Bitcoin. But I do think the midterm is still murky, mainly because we're starting to see this macro data shaping up that's very concerning. Yeah. Inflation's inching up a little bit. It's going to make it harder for the Fed to come print money when the economy stutters. And if the stock market, right, if we take the NASDAQ, let's just say we enter a recession or stagflation, the stock market, let's say, drops 20, 25%. Where is Ethereum? Where is Bitcoin if that happens? And I would just dare say that probably lower based on risk, reduction. I think the market, at least the stock market, is in this mode of saying, hey, listen, things will be okay. The general consensus is still a soft landing or no landing at all. So I don't think that has been priced into the stock market. Now, crypto markets are a little different, right? I mean, you have Bitcoin and some of these other coins, which I think initially when the stock market's selling, they go down because people just get fearful and they sell. But I actually think down the line, 6, 12 months out, Bitcoin could find a bottom and start going inverse to the stock market as a safety hedge play. And we've seen little bits of that, right? When the banks started to collapse, Bitcoin had a great run. It's just, it's not quite at that level just yet. But I do think that at this point, it probably still reacts with the risk on kind of or risk off type scenario, but down the line, it should switch.
India, Nigeria, Vietnam lead Chainalysis Global Crypto Adoption Index. Economist Peter Schiff warns of massive crisis and a rush to exit US dollar. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.